All right. So happy Thursday, everybody. We are on shift tactic 3, which is about leverage. So, oh, hey, Jay. I wanted to just start because one of the things that I think can start to happen with webinars and things like this is it starts to become like the action, right? Because the whole point of this time is to be in action around the shift, mindset, models, course of action to make sure that we're generating in our businesses before business stops. So what I think can sometimes happen, which is like a pitfall of it, is the action becomes getting on this webinar, which is the first part of it. Yeah, you've got to hop on here to get connected to what we're doing, but that's only half of it. The other half is taking the actions that get created on the webinar in your business between last session and this session. So it felt kind of, well, not kind of, it felt like important to take stock with you guys and just see where people are at. Because it doesn't make sense to go into the further tactics if we haven't accomplished the goals of the first 2. So the first 2 actions I created out of the previous sessions were, number 1, to hop on the phone and reach out to clients in your pipeline, people in your database, friends and family, and start making those calls and see how people are doing so that they know you're a resource for them if they have questions that are real estate related. Who's taken that on and can share about what was generated from doing that? Let me see if I can see everybody. Oh. Would anybody be willing to share?
Hey, this is Jay. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hey, Jay.
Hey, so I've sort of pivoted a little bit in my business and I've reached out to investors that are buying more or have been buying single families and small multifamily, away from commercial a little bit. But there's a lot of money right now that is looking for deals, but there's also big anticipation that prices are going to come down.
Yeah. Right. And we expect that. So it's not necessarily like you're making these calls really to generate a transaction for right now. Now, can that happen? 100%. I'm on like all these different Facebook groups and people are posting their wins every single day. But most of you have a pipeline and you're okay for the next 30 to 60 days. The activities for right now are meant to plant those seeds that when this pipeline dries up, you already have people who you've been speaking to so that there are deals to replace these. So that's really great. What you're saying is now, for somebody like you, I'd be putting down a spreadsheet or creating a spreadsheet with every person's name, areas, acquisition criteria, like how much they have to spend, like that. And then, as you talk to other people, there are going to be those that are like, you know what, I've got this property that doesn't necessarily make sense. And, there might be fallout from what's happening right now that they need to dispose of things. And you'll have a database of buyers ready to go, all cash, not impacted by, the cash crunch we might see banks dealing with by the time this is all said and done. Does that make sense? Did I lose you, Jay?
No, I just want to unmute. Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah. So that's really great what you said. A lot of people, you're just planting seeds right now, making those connections so that when a lot of people decide that they need to do something, you're the one who's been connected with them for months or weeks or however long, and the likelihood that they use you goes up. That's really the design of it. Who else? Has anybody else taken this on? Oh, let me take you off mute, Gare. Oh, you just muted yourself there.
What?
Say that again?
I didn't hear the question. Has anybody else
taken on, so after our first call, what we created, the action was to reach out and start following up with clients, people in our sphere, just to see how they are and let them know that we're a resource for real estate related questions during this time. So I wanted to see, because I don't want to go through 12 tactics and every time we have an action and we're moving into tactic 3 or tactic 4, but we haven't done the work from tactics 1 or 2. Right? So I'm trying to kind of get a sense of who's taking this stuff on, who the first thing we talked about doing was following up with the people in our database, the people in our sphere, just to, you know, let them know we're here and we're a resource. So did anybody do that? I know Jake mentioned, Gary, you did. Did you want to share about what you got out of that or what was generated?
Yeah. So, I sent out that email, you know, where I just gave some state of the market and what's going on in the single tenant market and the general investment market. And I got several people who responded and said, thank you, it's great information. Then I followed up with them and made phone calls, not just to talk about things in the market in general, how they're doing, are they staying safe and everybody in their family okay, and you know, just general conversations. So I probably made about 20 phone calls, but I've got a lot more to make.
Great.
You're muted.
If you could take on doing 20 a day, that would make a massive difference in your business a month or 2 months from now.
Yeah, right.
Even if you guys, listen, if you guys took on 10 a day, how many is that by the end of the week?
50.
And then by the end of the month?
25. I mean, 250.
Yeah, at least, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be responsible for that. I am homeschooling my children, so you might see them walking around back here. Okay.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you can warn them, I'm like, guys, 1 to 2, I got a webinar. She still needs snacks. So there you go.
It's very cute.
Okay, awesome. Okay, who else can share? Who else took on the assignment from the first session?
I've been doing a few calls in regards to my database, but I've been what I've found is that since I've been doing the ads, and it's more of a reintroduction for me. I've been doing the Facebook ads in regards to who I am, and I've been getting responses from them. Then people that I would think didn't see it, saw it, call me, and I'm developing a good influx of phone calls from people that are interested. What's the market going to look like? Is this really a time for investing, or do I hold my money? I'm having more of those conversations now. So,
but that's brilliant, Juan. I mean, that's brilliant because, you know, people are sitting home watching the news, and there's going to come a point where something happens or a series of things happen and people are going to be ready to go. And who are they going to talk to first? The person who's been talking to them this entire time. So that's really great. And, you know, you pointed to one of the things we're going to go over on this, on the webinar today, which is leverage. And Facebook and the Facebook leads is one of the things I'm going to discuss. So that's perfect. Now, if you were to add to that, right, if you were fielding, I'm going to get to you next, Adam. If you were fielding those calls, right, during the day, and then you added 10 dials out, what difference do you think that would make in your business 30 to 90 days from now?
A huge difference. And that's where I've been calling, but I haven't been organized calling. So I just finished a batch from Lori. Then I just did that batch to Fiverr. They squeezed it down so that it's uploadable the way I want it. I just put it in Mojo. So now I can get into my calls early in the morning and start getting some outbound from that stuff. So I've been trying to be as productive as I can in this force at the house, you know, homeschool detention thing that we're on.
Yeah. Adam, what were you going to say? What was your question?
The question was, Juan mentioned that's a good opportunity to invest nowadays. Is that true?
Well, I think that there are going to be people who had properties listed. I mean, we're already hearing about this, right? I mean, you can talk to your colleagues. There are people that had properties listed and they're in escrow and they've now fallen out, right? Like I was talking to Tom today. He has an agent who's like, you know, the client is beside themselves because they've already bought their new house and their old house just fell out. That's somebody who's going to just have to get out of it. So, you know, those kinds of opportunities are going to start to show up. I don't think there are a ton of them yet. I think it's going to take a little bit for the people who have to sell to confront that they're not going to get the number they thought they were before this happened. But what he's pointing to is there is going to come a time where we're going to start to see those margins on what people are going to be able to buy properties for, you know, 60 days from now versus 60 days previous to now. That's going to grow, and there's going to be the opportunistic buyers that are going to come out and they have the cash to spend, especially if we see a lending cash crunch where people can't get mortgages and people have to sell, and cash will be king, and you're going to be able to get those properties for below market because you don't need a loan. So I wouldn't say that that's today, but I definitely, you know, being on different webinars and watching the news and reading, there's a good chance that we'll see that soon. I don't know if we're going to see it as much in our market, you guys. We're not as inflated as like beach cities or West Side submarkets. You'll probably start to see it a little bit more there. But I do think we're going to see that for sure at some point this year. Juan.
We're seeing it now. I had a listing that before this, we were in escrow at 470. Now everybody fell out at 470. Now we have another showing tomorrow, but the highest offer we got is 430.
And is he ready to go?
That quick.
Yeah, he's ready to do it, right?
Yeah, and the investors are backing out because they know everybody's desperate, so they're coming in low. They're creating this little I need a property, and they're trying to fight on that. So yeah. But like she said,
but that guy has to sell, right, Juan? I mean, there are probably other people who will say, you know what, I don't have to sell this. I can wait 6 to 12 months for this to bounce back. But there are people who can't do that.
Yes, but the bounce is, if you wait 6 to 12 months for it to bounce back, are you bouncing back in a buyer's market that has higher interest rates? So therefore, your buyer pool shrinks, so you're not going to get the price you want anyway.
Right.
Do you go for the price now and
right.
see what you can get? Otherwise, are you waiting to put yourself in this other problem that's going to come?
Correct. Well, it could. We don't know. I mean, that's what everyone's indicating is we don't know, but it's a very real possibility, like you're saying, 100%.
There's also real quick, there was a pretty negative article in the LA Times business section, if you guys get a chance to see it. But lenders are bracing for as many as 15 million delinquencies or foreclosures through this. And as we start talking about time and kind of setting yourself up with the forbearance, it's not, at this point, it is not a loan forgiveness. It is just a loan delay.
Correct.
And when people are faced with having to then start making up those forbearance payments, those properties may start coming on as well.
Correct. There are going to be people who can't afford that. We actually talked about this on Tuesday's webinar. Exactly. Really, really good. So that was, I want to make sure that we keep moving. That was the assignment from the first one. The second one was for people to go through their pipeline, project out their closings, right? And then create what the monthly income was going to look like. And then do your budget to make sure that whatever your expenses are going to be, that number comes in below your projected closing income. Who was able to accomplish that? Anybody?
Well, I started it and I haven't had time to finish it. So I'm committing to get it done by Tuesday.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, who else? Anybody else get to do this? Nobody? Okay, I mean, no big deal, but we wanna make sure that we do. And I want to also just create like what the difference is here. So doing business this way is actually having all of you as agents run your business as a business. And why is that important, do you think?
It moves.
Why do you guys think it's important to run this? Oh, Mo did. Awesome. Awesome.
It moves and you end up creating a business that runs without you specifically needing to be in it.
That's true. It's the foundation of being able to do that. But what it also does is it gives you the opportunity to move a lever, actually not even move a lever, but create a lever called profit. Profit. Most agents, and I can speak to this personally because I was like this for, pretty much ever, I mean, right now, obviously I'm a team leader, so I'm not actively selling day in and day out like you guys, but what I can clearly see is I used to go to work every day and work and work and work and work and work and hope it turns out. This is really the opportunity for you to have some structure around managing your business, managing your income, and creating the opportunity where you can now look at what we essentially did was look at, okay, how much money are we going to have coming in, and creating a structure around what's going out, because most of us would just keep going like we're going, and then whatever comes in, and then we're like freaking out when that number is less than what needs to go out. True or false?
Hi, it's Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Hi. Confession, I'm always freaking out. Anytime I get a check, I'm always like, when's the next one? And that's just how I've been. Because I know.
Which is good, because it makes you hustle, right? I mean, I'm the same way. We used to talk about this. I'd close a deal and then like be devastated. Because I'd be like, oh my God, I did it. And that was so hard. How am I going to do it again?
I feel the same. That is exactly my sentiment. Miles always says, what are you worried about? You just got to check. What the hell's your problem? And I'd be like, I don't know. But I hear what you're saying. I think what we're doing right now is helping us to get ahead of that.
Yes, and that's the exact point of that exercise. 100%. Because are you going to make that feeling go away? I think it'll take a long time for that to happen. But if you had a structure where you could see, like Miles could put a piece of paper in front of you that said, okay, here are our expenses, here's what's coming in, and here's what's left over. Like, I got that that's just a feeling that comes up, but the reality is we're good because we did this work.
Yes, you're right. That would be good medicine for me. And yeah. I think what I did a little bit of my homework, which was we pulled 2 months worth of bank statements. Good. And I went through that and I pulled out everybody that I don't need. I got the phone numbers. I'm in the process of calling those people, canceling or reorganizing everything. And, I'm sorting through my database and categorizing everybody. That has been, awesome. Like you said, just do 5 a day, at least feel like I'm doing something. So that's been helpful. Thank you.
Good. Okay, awesome. Now I want you to know why am I doing this is because I feel like, if we've got 20 people or, I guess minus the staff, 17 people on this call, and it's easy to be like, oh my gosh, I've got so much going on. Like I'll get to it when I get to it. I really want you guys to connect to now's the time. Now's the time. Yeah, you could start next month calling your people, to let them know you're here as a resource. Might be a month too late, right? You could start by doing your expenses in a week or two. By then, you probably can't make any changes to your April bills. You're going to just have all that money go out. You might find yourself in July wishing that you didn't have that much go out. And if you could have saved 10 or 15% on April, it would make a massive difference in you not feeling stressed or worried. So I'm starting the call this way because I don't want us to fall into a pitfall where we've got 20 people on these calls twice a week and then we get to tactic 10 and none of that work's gotten done. It's great if you have the information. It makes no difference if you don't act on the information. Knowing is wonderful, but if it doesn't actually impact what you go and then do, it's made no difference. Is that landing, you guys?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I really, really, really want to be able to jump on these calls and have more people jump in and say, you know, like I did this and I did that. And, you know, it'll make a difference for all of you, because Brandon, Trish, and I, you know, a lot of other market centers, they're just riding this thing out. You know, we really looked at it as an opportunity for Inglewood and Inglewood's agents to hunker down, catch up, take a bunch of like, you know, of a foothold in terms of the business activities that we usually don't have the time to dive into this deeply and actually do that, so that when we come out of this, we're like so far ahead of everybody, we're just like smoking them in the dust. But that's not going to happen if we don't start chipping away at it little by little. So that's why I said, you guys, 10 a day, 10 people, you need to call 10 people a day. It's going to take you less than 2 hours. At the end of the week, that's 50 people. It's huge. Okay. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this week, leverage, effective people leverage. So I'll start by saying this is really geared toward teams. We don't have mega teams yet in our office, so I'm not going to go super deep into it, but I think it's worth covering, especially for those of you that are working in partnership or mentorship with others, or those of you that have buyer's agents right now. And then we're going to go into, you know, it's basically, you know, systems, tools, and people are the 3 points of leverage. We're going to, you know, spend some time on the people, but the critical ones for our market center specifically are going to be the systems and tools. So main ideas, perspective on effective people leverage, and then acquiring the talent you need. You got to take stock of what you have and then focus on doing the right things. And then there's the bottom line in our action plan, which is what we talk about at the end of every one of these calls. What do we want to come to the next call having accomplished? So when you look at the perspective on people leverage, you want to do it in the context of, you know, these 3 categories, right? So there's, you know, the people, who's going to do what needs to be done in the business, and the system, how's it going to be done? We're trying to create standards for everything. And then what tools are going to be used to do those activities. So the people who do the best in this business, we call in the context of, you know, this webinar, the high achievers, know that all 3 have to be used together, but that people are the most powerful form of leverage. Now, where I think everybody in Inglewood specifically has a really great advantage is we have curated our partners as far as vendor partnerships in the market center. So for everybody, when you look at, some of you are like, well, I'm a single agent. I don't have an assistant. I don't have a buyer's agent. You know, what people is she talking about? Those people. You've got Basil, who has like that really cool security program that's geared towards realtors and creating value for your clients. If you're a listing agent, or even if you're a buyer's agent, especially. You've got Tom Corcoran, who literally, you know, goes above and beyond, to help you, like, will coach you through conversations with your clients. Sometimes he'll just call them for you, right? And have the conversation. You've got Kevin Sales on the title side, but he also creates a ton of value for you guys with regards to marketing. And then you've got Brandon, Trish, and myself, me for, you know, kind of coaching and business coaching, like how can I structure things? What do I want to necessarily spend my time on? And then, you know, Trish and Brandon with the tech tools. So I'm going over that piece of it because I think you would say, a lot of you on this call, have you been looking at all those people I just named as leverage in your business? Some of you probably, but I'm guessing most of you know. I'm asking.
Well, yes.
I'm learning to leverage them more.
Okay, good. And, you know, when you say that, when you're learning to leverage them more, because look, I could just sit here and tell you, but I think it's a little more interesting if it comes from you guys. What's an example of how you can leverage those guys?
Oh, Brandon's been teaching me how to automate my command and start that process and get that along. So I really appreciate him. And then Trish and they both, I like the fact that they send me the meeting request, because if I don't get a meeting request, I'm gonna forget. And I like that I get that so I can be abreast of what's going on. So yeah, you know.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is that you have a leverage partner that facilitates your lead gen.
Thank you.
right? So that's one partner that everybody in this market center has, right? You've got a team of people to facilitate your lead gen and your automation. As far as, here, I just see a chat box. Let me respond. Hold on, let me open this. Success, help with advertising fees. So success, typically, you know, what you're going to want to, especially Kevin Sales is like amazing at this, is he's got tons of free ways for you to market yourself. I'll just be honest, if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily have a business yet, it's a little harder to get the vendors to pay for some of those things, but it's worth having a conversation, right? That you can say, hey, can we do a shared postcard to my farm, right? But I would say, especially, I even think Gloria has some of this. Both Gloria and Kevin have some really cool opportunities that are marketing that's like free or low cost, or sometimes you can partner with them and they have a budget to do that. Who else?
And
go ahead.
Don't forget about Felix. He's always very helpful as well.
Yep, that's right, Mr. Felix. So those are the people that I would say for everybody. When you look at, you know, people, you can make a list of the different things in your business that need to get done, and then figure out how some of these strategic partnerships can fill some of those roles. Then as far as systems, that's how are things going to get done? That's one of the ways that, you know, we're going to look at, you know, time blocking, scheduling things using command, right? And then tools, one of those tools would be Command, Facebook, some of the other things that come with being a Keller Williams agent. So, you know, here's the powerful question, I think, for all of you as you look forward is going to be, you know, how do you know when it's time to add people leverage? Generally, you want to look at, you know, which activities make you money, which activities do you enjoy doing, and then if you're spending on time on activities that bring you neither, that's where you want to start looking at, okay, where do I have an opportunity to contract these out or create a partnership that has that get done by somebody other than me? Now, I'm going to be honest, at the very beginning of your career, this is going to be something that you have to push through. There's a lot of stuff that's not that fun to do. And then, you know, you create the context for it called, okay, right now I have to do all of these things. And here's the point where I can stop doing some of the things I don't like to do. And then the mission becomes getting to that point so you can move on from those tasks.
Hey,
So,
can I share?
Yes.
Can I share something about, this is mahogany.
You know.
Okay. You know, since I was working on the budget and everything, at first, I felt like, okay, you can't spend anything and everything's so tight. But since you mentioned it, it's like one of the things that I had to start thinking about leveraging. I'm working on my YouTube channel, for instance. Mm-hmm. And I spent like 3 days trying to figure out, well, how am I going to edit? And how I'm going to, listen, Fiverr. The money I'm saving from not eating out every day and buying coffee or whatever, gas up and down the street, I was like, okay, that I have to have that leverage because I'll waste time trying to figure out how to do it myself.
Yeah.
Somebody knows how to do it quicker, faster, and cheaper.
There you go.
So things like that I've been thinking about.
Yep. And there's a part where we actually talk about that, you know, being really intentional about, okay, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to go down to zero, but when you start at zero and then you look at what are the things that need to be done and which ones, you know, can I get someone else to do and how much does that cost? It might make sense if you, like you said, you're giving up something over here to be able to do that. So that's really, really great. So this is going to be, and I'm going to send this to everybody, the first activity. Here, let me see. I think someone's sending me a chat. Oh, okay. You know, what are the activities that are the most dollar productive, right? So if you can spend and concentrate your time doing those things and get other people to support you with some of the other busy work things, that is a really great place to start. Then you want to look at the way you do your business as kind of like a team sport, which is where you can consider me, Brandon, Trish, and the other vendor partners we have in the office as part of your team. So as you look at all of the things that need to be done and who's going to do them, you want to figure out, you know, where can you have these partnerships work for you as leverage?
Nicole?
Yes.
Did you say that these slide decks are available on the KW Connect site or not?
They are, but I'm emailing them on the thread.
Oh.
So like I
That's
sent
right.
Tactic
That's what
2.
I got today, right?
Yep,
Okay.
and then I'm going to send Tactic 3 so you guys can see the content. All of this is also in the student manual. I like the slide deck because it's like not as many pages and you don't have to, you know, it's easier to find what you're supposed to do. So I'll send this as well today. But as you look at your perspective on effective people leveraging, there's this really cool decision tree. And this is where you want to look, right? Do you have people to help you? Let's say you go, no, get leverage. Use allied resources. Allied resources, that's us, right? And then subcontracted help, we're going to talk about what that could look like next. And then there's ad staff, which is typically last. The Red Book model, the point at which someone wants to look at adding a first staff person, the standard for that is 9 million in volume or 36 units. Depending on your area, you'll hit one of those numbers first. Okay, so when it has that add staff question right there that you want to look at, okay, we could do the first two and then when do I do the third one? You want to use that as your metric. 9 million or 36 transactions. Now, do you think that the first year you hit that is when you want to do it? Or do you think you want to hit that and then have a Q1 or Q2 pipeline that indicates you're going to hit that again before you hire somebody?
I think it's a good idea.
Say that again?
I think it's a good idea to hit it again before you hire somebody, so you know that you can do it consistently.
Right. I mean, sometimes you're just too busy and you won't be able to, you know, most people to do 36 on your own or 9 million on your, I mean, for you, Gary, that's different just because of your average deal size. But for someone who's doing houses in our farm with our average price point, I mean, that's a ton of work. So you might need it by then, but that's where you then roll into it, right? So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, that you don't necessarily maybe take on a full-time person, right? You maybe hit 9 million, you go into January and February with 2 million in listings or, you know, a pipeline of 2 or 3 million, right? And then you looking at that, say, okay, I have enough momentum and I'm going to need some help. And you take somebody 1 or 2 days a week to start, right? Or you get a VA.
Right.
Just hit, I'll call you back. Okay, so let's keep going. But this is really great. So this is where you start to look at, okay, the decisions that you want to examine as you start to add people and create your leverage with regards to staff. So the team concept, you got to start thinking about your team as the larger circle of people in your life who can help you achieve your goals. I like to also add that, you know, it really works to do this in business and in life, because for some of you to be able to work as much as you might need to generate the kind of increase we're talking about, you might want to look at it on the at-home front as well, right? Where might you need leverage there, and what could that look like? Sometimes it's just having certain conversations. I mean, I'll tell you, I've got some leverage newly at home. My 2 children now have a whole new list of things that they need to do now that we all have time to do it, because I've got a lot more work to do for the market center, right? So I just knew, okay, some of these, oh my God, some of these things, it's like madness at my house, I apologize. Some of these things, you know, are critical to being able to do what you need to do to grow the business. Does that make sense, you guys? So look at it holistically is my point. So who's on your team? Make a list. It says here, don't forget spouses, partner, family, friends, fellow agents, vendors, employees, business leaders, service providers. You might even have people who you have in your life at other market centers that are doing what you want to do, and you talk to them about that. That's somebody who's on your team. Hey, you're already at a 5-agent team, and you talk to them monthly about what it looks like to get there. or they're further along in the tech adoption and you talk to them as you're doing yours about, you know, here's where I'm at. What did you notice made a difference for you? So it's not just directly with the actual tasks of the business. Okay, got leverage. So as you build your allied resources, you want to, we just already went over this, talk about the people who can help you. And then subcontract your way up. So there are going to be free resources, allied resources, and that's a way to start adding these people without adding to your bottom line. And then where do you find professionals who are looking for part-time, per transaction, or short-term work assignments? Well, there's a few of you who could probably partner together and share someone. I know that, for example, on my previous team, we had a VA that none of us had enough work for that person to be employed full-time. So everybody split up the minimum number of hours so that we could still afford to hire that person. Does that make sense, you guys? So there are going to be some services where they're like, okay, it's minimum, you know, X amount of hours per week. And that comes out to a dollar amount that might not work for you. You get a buddy, you guys split it, and bam, you're in business. Who's got questions about that? Anybody? Yes, Juan.
Explain that again, please, the sharing of resources that way.
So there are, you know, some services where the VA, like for a talented one, right, a trained one, you've got a minimum number of hours that that person needs to be contracted for in order for you to be able to hire them.
Okay.
So you guys know that I work with Joe and Rodney and Richie, right? So we have a VA that everybody pays for 10 hours. I mean, I had to give up my hours because I'm not really doing much, but that was the structure. So my bill was significantly less than it would have been if I had done it on my own, because I shared that VA with 3 other people. And that person exclusively data mined for us. That's what they did. We would send lists. They would use the research tools like the ones I've shared with you guys, and they would populate that list with phone numbers and emails so that we could lead gen. Make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So those are some of the things you can think about, right? Doing and sharing with other people. So VAs, it's easy, and you know, you can find really talented ones without having a full-time $40,000 or $50,000 a year employee. You know, it's really critical though when you do that you're super, oh my gosh, clear about exactly what you want them to do, and that you create structures to manage it and see to it that what your expectations are, that they're being met. And then you need to do the math. Like that was part of what our assignment from last week was, looking at your budget and what your pipeline shows you you're going to have as far as income, and then determining if you can allocate those funds there, or not if, but how much you can.
I just actually did that, Nicole, with my tax guy. He does, he uses some type of ClickFunnels, but he said he pays like $200 and something a month. And I said, well, how many funnels can you make? And he said unlimited. So he's literally going to put a real estate one in for me for all of his tax clients that need to sell.
That's amazing.
But that's I told him I'll give him like $40 on it.
That's awesome. Awesome. And it's like a win-win for both of you, right?
Yeah, he's going to save a little off his monthly and I'll get all the real estate leads.
There you go. Really, really smart lead gen model. That's awesome. And so we're going to keep rolling. So we talked a little bit about this. This is just a slide that they have in all of these slideshows. You know, it's really where you want to stand to get the most out of this experience. There's the person who's on here and isn't that interested in what's going on this webinar. The person who's like, well, I love being on the webinar. It's better than doing the other stuff I was going to do, and I feel like it's productive. And then there's the person who's excited, curious, and ready to do the things that we're doing on this webinar. You know, you'll see this when you guys look through the slides here, but I thought it was worth going over. Now, acquiring the people you need. once you get to that point where you can afford to, you'll hire permanent staff. That's really great because your time training them has a long-term benefit and result for you. And you want to make sure that you are doing it at the right point in time. So what you have created is an opportunity for growth versus just a liability. So first leads, then income, then help. We call this leading with revenue, and it's smart business. We touched on that a little earlier as well. So you want to follow the career visioning process. A lot of you have already started that with us. It's where you take a KPA, you do the interview process, and you have really clear-cut guidelines and expectations for what that person's role is and what it looks like for them to win at that role. So you want to also make sure that you hire people who are smart, quick and intelligent, attractive to clients and others, motivated and ethical. It is impossible to motivate someone in their role ongoingly. So you want to make sure that that person is excited about not only being with you, but what they do as a member of your team. And you also want to make sure that you're not going to have issues on the back end, that this person doesn't have the same values as you do in terms of ethics. Because obviously, you know, there is a legal liability for the business that we're in. So you don't, if you can already see that this is somebody who's going to cut corners, it's probably not the person that you want to have, you know, writing your contracts, right? So the path to a 7th level business, this is what Juan was talking about, is you start to build your team and set the foundation to have a business that can run without you. So you add administrative staff first, then you add more to your sales team. And you identify leaders for your buy side and your list side. And then eventually you identify a CEO or director of operations who runs it for you. And you get the chance to step away and do other things. What do most people step away and do? They buy more businesses. Pretty cool, right? All right, so first you got to take stock of what you have. You want to look at who you have in your circle already. Make sure that they have these, you know, attributes, a strong work ethic, a resilient attitude, that they're trainable and that they're excited and willing to be masterful at their role, and a willingness to follow your systems. If you have somebody who's going to come in and they have the other attributes, but they want to do it their own way, probably not going to be the best fit for you moving forward. And these are things that you want to actually talk about up front with people as an expectation for what it would take to win on your team. So from here, we've created this earlier. You're going to think about, you know, who you have on your team, the people that you have as leverage in your life, and then the goals you have for your business. And you can start to build out from there what and how those people, systems, and tools are going to accomplish you getting there. And what you want to do is take stock of what you have, what you want and what you have now, and then what's the gap. Do you have the people as leverage on your team right now that are actually going to be able to get you where you want to go? If not, who would you replace if you had a better resource? And then we start looking for those people. I want to pause so people don't glaze over. What are you guys getting in this conversation? I know I'm going quickly because I think for our group, this isn't necessarily what we're going to do at this point in the shift, but can you see why it's important to at least know about it as you move forward? Yeah, why is it important, do you think? Anyone? Terrence, I see you. Why do you think it's important, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last portion. I'm actually listening.
Why, I know that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, why do you think it makes a difference for someone like you, right? Who's not at the point of building a team, but I still think this was an important conversation for you to have. And there are a lot of people on this call who are like you, that this is not where they are, but we are still having this conversation as a group. Why do you think for an individual agent, understanding this part of the business is important?
Well, I think it's important just to listen to other people's tools, their perspective. You mentioned earlier, knowing this information, then actually implement it on the action plan and actually incorporating this into your business. I think all these classes are very useful in terms of just moving forward.
Yeah, 100%. And if you aren't somebody looking to build a team yet, I think understanding how you would do that before you do it is going to be pretty important as well. You'll probably avoid some pitfalls, right?
Absolutely.
Really good. Really, really good.
I'd like to chime in. This is Anita.
Hi, Anita.
Hi. For me, since I'm just getting started, it's good for me to know what, tools and systems and, anything else we need down the pike, because I can have this in my mind ahead of time to know that, okay, when you get to this point, now you're going to start adopting, these systems, and to already know pretty much how they're going to work out. So I can know ahead of time, how to put it all together.
Exactly. And I also think for a lot of you who are on this call that want to be on a team, where I would, if I were you, listen in this conversation is, okay, what's a rainmaker looking for in the people who they hire, right? And is this how I'm showing up if I want the opportunity to be on a team with someone who does enough business to actually hire me, which is 9 million in volume plus or 36 transactions a year, right? So a lot of people kind of come into it thinking a team's a great idea and wanting to have that opportunity, but what you really want to connect to is yeah, that would be great, but are you willing to be this and operate at this level so that someone who's in the position to hire you can, right?
Absolutely.
Really, really good, you guys. Awesome. So this is a piece where this next slide is, are your people a behavioral fit? So that's where we look at not just someone's words, them saying, yes, I feel comfortable to do these things, but using the KPA and some of our other tools to determine whether or not they are. So if you are somebody who is interviewing, right, and the person sitting across from you is really soft-spoken and seems a little shy, do you think, even though they're saying, yes, I want to do this, it would be a good idea to hire that person as your listing specialist?
Definitely not.
Okay, tell us why.
Okay. I think this person, it depends on which position you're hiring. But I think this person needs to mirror your business philosophy. For me, I need somebody who mirrors my spirit and just, being able to step into a situation and create that things are going to happen. So, but I don't necessarily need someone who's exactly like me, I think this has been very helpful because what I realize is, according to my goals for the year, by June, I'm supposed to be hiring my first assistant. And because of everything that's going on and Miles is now not working, now I kind of have some more leverage, as well as, really using the people that are in the office to help me do everything. I think I'm starting to step into that, whereas before I might not have been. I've been using my own people, and now using the people in the office just makes more sense for me. So anyways, that's what I have to add to that.
Yeah. And I think what you're pointing to also is, in terms of them mirroring you, do you want to hire somebody who you're going to have to spend all your time asking them to be some other way than they are? Yeah. You're going to end up, you hire that person as your listing specialist, and they're obviously, their behavioral, the way they are is not a fit for that role. They're going to maybe be able to do it for a while, and then they're going to be highly uncomfortable, and it's not going to get done. And you're going to spend your time asking that person to be another way than they are. And it's just a bad business for all involved. It doesn't usually work out. So that's the other thing you want to pay attention to. Are you matching people with the right spot where they go? And is that their self-expression? Because when it is, it's going to be really easy for you to have that person perform. So this is the other thing. Do you need to top grade or de-hire? People often, choose that new hire really quickly, and then it's not working out, and they see it and they ignore it for a really long time. Big mistake. You got to make sure if you made a mistake and somebody's in a spot that they don't belong, you support them in moving them to where they really need to be, where they're going to make the biggest difference. And you got to find the person who's going to be the right fit for your role. So focus on doing the right things, you guys. You want to make sure that you have people adding leverage to your business, meaning you got the right people in the right spot and they are a match for your business, your role, and the expectations are set up for you to actually have them help you grow your business. And then are you doing the right things? What are you focused on? Are you spending your time on activities that are going to create growth in the business, or are you doing busy work that other people could do? Or can you create a partner in helping you grow the business? That's where this new strategy comes in. Quit passing out leads, start passing out appointments, right? So that would mean training up somebody on your team to be able to take over a piece of the lead gen pipeline. And now you've got 2 people working on that every day instead of 1, which could equal more business. And then you've got to be a great leader and a great coach to build a team. The first part of it is making sure that you are training and coaching the right person. And then from there, your leadership is going to need to shine through. And it's from a place of empowerment. When people are empowered, they tend to do better. So systems and tools, we talked about this at the beginning. The system is how you get the job done, and the tools are what you use to get the job done. If you guys on this call were in the business planning clinic, we talked a lot about a system in terms of how you want to structure your day. A really great tool for helping you do that is in Command, Smart Plans. Who knows why the smart plans, I'm saying the smart plans are a tool that creates a system for you? Anybody?
It automates your touch system. So
that's right.
It just does it for you and you can do something else.
And it tells you when the touch has to happen from you, right? So now you have a system for following up with and keeping track of your leads and your pipeline. Yes or no? How do most people do it right now? Post-its, spreadsheets, and then if you don't open that, you're not calling that person, are you? Right? So this is standardizing. I mean, if you guys look at the smart plans, it's like, okay, this person gets a text, then this person gets an email, then this person's supposed to get a note, and you'll log into Command and it'll say, you got to write a note for these 10 people today. And then it'll say tomorrow, you got to call these 10 people. And it cycles everybody through those 33 touches that we know are required to actually talk to your prospect enough such that if they're going to do business, they do it with you. So do you guys see the difference and the distinction between a system and a tool and how they're connected, and how we have a really amazing, robust tool that if you actually use it will make a massive difference in your business? Yes or no? Yeah, good. So again, the underlining kind of big system/tool base is our tech. How many of you are working on that right now with the team? Here, let me unmute you, Gare. Oh, let me do it. Do you have a question, Gary?
Working on what? Working on what?
On setting up the tech tools with Brandon and Trish.
Oh, yes. I'm not using Command, but I'm using tech tools.
Okay, good. Now, there might be some things that even though you're going to stay in client look, that you can still map over and use Command for. I would still get on the phone with Brandon and see what you can use that would make a difference in your business.
Okay, I will.
For everybody else, how many of you, so let me just kind of walk y'all through. I started to talk about it last week, but I want to go over it again. So what we've done is we've created 11 tasks that take you from start to finish in terms of setting up most of what we have available to us through KW International as far as technology. And together they make up the system and the tool parts of this conversation. And they're going to be reaching out to you and talking to you every single week. So some of you, and I know some of you who are on this call, because we keep track of all of it, are not taking their call. Big mistake, you guys. Massive mistake. They're going to make this super easy and foolproof for you. And they're going to take you through steps 1 through 11. Once you get to 11, you're like fully set up, ready to rock and roll. Guess what one of those steps include? Lead gen. They're going to help you set that up, right? So it's critical to use this time to do that. Why? Anybody?
Well, it's part of prep, and we have the time right now.
That's right. That's right. And if you set this up now, when you go back and you're busy, it's done. You're ready to rock and roll. Yep. Okay, so here we go. The bottom line, the 80-20 principle. Predictably, 80% of our results will come from 20% of our actions. So you want to leverage your time to yield the highest productivity. And if you spend your time strategically focused on a few things and use leverage for other things, there's an opportunity for you to achieve growth, even right now when things are slowing down. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yep.
All right, good. So, action plan. I will take a photograph of pages 53 to 57 of this guide, and I'll send it with this email. I want you guys to tell me, who can tell me what you can put into action based on this call today? What are like 2 or 3 things that you can do out of this conversation? Somebody new who hasn't shared. We always have the same people sharing.
Hey, this is Charles Bowles. How you doing?
Oh, what's up, Chuck?
Hey, hi everybody. Hope you guys are being safe and hanging in there. So, first of all, action plan is I'm going to continue to make phone calls to my clients and check on them. Number 2 is I'm going to send out emails and then also do the 53 and 54. Is that what you said, the 2 pages?
Yep. Well, it's 53 to 57. You're going to do, there's an action plan. I mean, I want you guys to pick, you should be doing, at least a couple of things a day, 10 phone calls and something else, right?
Okay. And then one more thing that you guys were just talking about, command and tech tools. I need to set myself up on that. So I'm going to utilize that with Brandon and Trish and get myself set up, because that's very important to have the back office working, shall we say, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive leverage piece, you guys. I mean, this is gonna make your business and your lead gen foolproof. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to be like, who do I need to call? Oh my gosh, I forgot about that opportunity. If you actually set everything up in command, it does it for you. Half of you are leaving tons of money on the table every year because you forgot about that person and then they sold with somebody else or bought with somebody else. And this is a set of tools that together make up a system that will not only save you time, help you do more business, but prevent those things from happening. So really, really good, Chuck. All right, you guys. Who else is committing to taking this on like Chuck Bowles? Anybody? David, George? Success is doing stuff. Bill Yarbrough.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was just, I actually kind of had brought on a little bit of help, like kind of leveraging some of the other people that I work with. So sorry, I was texting. I have a virtual assistant, but just some of the things, even with the people that you're working with, that I normally don't even go through. It's like making me look into, the people I'm working with, because a lot of people just do things for different reasons. So, like right now I have a lot of people that are interested in investing. They're trying to learn. So they're kind of helping me locate properties as they find properties. But it's like I'm kind of teaching them, but they're a lead source for me right now too. But, they like, I want to invest. So I'm kind of taking time explaining stuff. So I kind of feel like the relationship is a little balanced, because if I find a property and they can actually purchase it, it's like a win-win, in a sort of way.
Yeah, no, that's really, really great.
To have people
Have you set yourself up in command yet?
Yeah, I'm in command. It's actually a little frustrating because I just literally was trying to do the opportunity, and the opportunity is telling me that the client is not in there. And, you know, just after putting them in CARB, having them inside of, you know, zip forms, it's like having to re-enter them in so many places, just figuring out the system of, okay, you got to put your client here to make it work, you know, to make everything work. So just trying to go through, because as every time I call someone's interested in something, I'm actually trying to write an offer for someone, but it's taking me so much time just literally trying to figure out the system to get it to go, you know.
Well, that's why you have Brandon and Trish as a resource.
Yeah, I'm gonna schedule some time with them. I've been just on here searching for the properties. You know, once the client tell me, oh, I'm looking for this, I've been spending so much time trying to do that. Now they want to offer. I'm trying to figure out how to get it in command. So
yeah, I mean, that's where you have the opportunity to leverage. You have the opportunity to leverage, because these guys, this is what Brandon does all day long. So there might be a simple solution, and you save yourself a ton of time by asking him to support you and walk you through it. And he does a screen share for everybody. He does a screen share and he takes over your mouse and shows you what to do.
All right. Yeah, I actually was just about to email him.
Awesome.
Can I just add to that resource? If it happens that you're in the middle of the night, or it's after work hours, and you just feel like you want to get some information or learn something really quickly, in between, Brandon, remember we have Scott Leroy as a resource who has the YouTube channel. They literally have broken it down into chunks, like specific stuff. That's like, I always would go to Brandon first, but let's say it's off time, or you just really, I just need to know right now. Don't forget that. And it really is a quick walkthrough on everything.
Yep. Awesome. Mr. Yarborough. Bill. Let me see. Merge with audio. Bill, are you there? He wanted to say something. I'm not sure why it's not working. Bill, we'll go ahead and I'll call you after this and we can talk offline. All right, everybody. So here is the action plan for next week. If you haven't started making calls, you need to make 10 a day. Let's see, today's Thursday. You got Friday and then you got Monday, right? That would be 30 if you did 10 a day. Then there's doing the budget, where you're going to look out on your pipeline and then reduce your expenses to be under that number, so that you are managing your money as we go into this shifting market. I'm going to put up these slides. I put up the slides from last week. I sent them to you guys, and Brandon's sending out the recording. So if you need to rewatch the class from Tuesday, you're able to do that. I want to acknowledge everybody for being on this call, and I'll see you Tuesday. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole.
Bye.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks. Bye.
Great job, Nicole.
Bye, Nicole. Thank you.
Thank you.